DIR TV in Charlottesville. After a 2-10 season last year, what would be considered a successful season this season?
Well, first of all, the acknowledgement that we have to play better, we have to execute and perform better. But my focus, Marty, is 100% on this year's team, on this year's process. You learned how to be humble last season, 2013, and in the process of moving forward, we're hungry. 2014 season.
Back here by the lights out, Coach.
Coach Brad from WDBJ in Roanoke. Kevin and Anthony were here yesterday talking about the schedule yet again being brutal. How do you go through this offseason, ending last year on a 9-game losing streak, and keep the confidence high to play some tough competition again, especially early on?
We always talk about the opportunity to compete. We all know that Virginia is a great institution academically, and when you see the opportunity to play great teams around the country, it raises its level to the expected performance. It's a challenge. It's a tough schedule, but you don't stray away from challenges. We embrace the schedule as it is. I mean, they're coming to Charlottesville. We're going out to BYU. So the opportunities for us to raise our profile, not only in the ACC but around the country, is to compete against teams that come into Charlottesville or we go on the road and play.
Coach, right here to the other lights out.
Coach London, Dennis Carter, WSCT in Lynchburg. Despite the tough season last year, you're convinced that the Cavaliers are ready to turn the corner. What gives you the optimism from what you've seen that you guys are ready to indeed turn the corner?
I believe that fear is absent of objectivity. And when you look at our team now, you look at 17 starters returning. You look at 9 back on defense. We lost 2. Brent Urban is playing with the Ravens, and Matt Snyder is in the camp with the Minnesota Vikings. There's 7 offensive returners on offense. We have our kickers back. Kevin Parks is the returning ACC ground game with over 1,000 yards. David Wofford, who was our quarterback last year, over 2,000 yards. Grayson Lambert, who is the incoming starting quarterback for us right now, has more passing attempts than 9 of the projected starters in the ACC. So there's a level of where we are now that we haven't been in the past. Over 55 lettermen. I talked to the players about, we have defensive backs that have played in 112 ACC games. That's first in the ACC and second most in college football right now. So there's an experience level that demands an expectation of performance. And we're older, we're more unified, and the guys are ready to play. If you talk to Anthony Harris and Kevin Parks, two of our captains, then there's a confidence that those 2 young men exude, and that permeates all the way throughout the team. So again, a humbling season in 2013, but a hungry season for the 14 season.
Coach, left side in the back. Ken Spencer with WHAS 11 in Louisville. Coach, the league has dubbed you and Louisville as permanent rivals, with them coming on board. How long does it take to actually develop a true rivalry?
I don't know the answer to that, but the fact that you compete on the football field is they're a competitor. And, they've taken Maryland's place, and now we'll play them every year. And quite sure that there'll be games that'll be played that, whatever rivalry occurs out of that, whatever competition rises out of that, we'll all see. But Louisville is a great addition to the ACC. Coach Petrino's done a fantastic job in different places that he's been. They've won. Their athletic program is always one that you hear about nationally. And so now they're in the league. They're in the Coastal Conference. So we have to play our best football when they come to Charlottesville and play and be representative of the type of team that we want to have in Charlottesville. So, welcome, Louisville, but now, the goal is to play well and to play competitive and have a game that's going to be representative of the type of team that you want to play with this year.
Coach, right side, front row here.
Mike, Dan Tortora, Broadcast Media. You talked about the team moving forward and going past this season, and you brought up experience with the team. The identity overall that you're seeing with your team right now and how you view yourself as a coach of this Virginia team and how you view the team's identity.
Sure. The identity is one of of unity. You can talk about, well, how does that happen? Last year we had 4 seniors. This year we have 22. I mean, there's a maturation process that takes place when you have teams that are looking for leaders, that are looking for an identity. This year's team, I'd say there's unity with this year's team. As I said, we're older. As I said, the expectations of performing are paramount for us. The coordinators are back, and so the systems and schemes are intact. The experience of guys that have played in college football games are there. It was evident in spring practice, and is evident as we went into to the summer months. So I'm a coach that's committed 100% to the development of this team, to moving forward of this program, to accepting the challenges that lay ahead of us. And those are my focal points. And it starts with the freshmen that are in summer school right now, and as we get ready to report for August camp with the veterans. So it's a committed staff. I'm a committed person. And again, the challenges that lay ahead, we all recognize it, from player to staff, everyone who works with the football program, but we embrace the challenge.
Coach left side right here in the aisle.
Hi, Coach. Jeff from WRL in Raleigh. You and Kevin Parks kind of came in at the same time. He said yesterday that he really didn't fit the running back template, so not a lot of schools in North Carolina look at it. What do you see in him, and what did you see in him that allows him to be successful as a running back?
Well, first of all, I believe in Kevin Parks. I love Kevin Parks as a young man. He's very similar to a story of myself being a parent in playing college football. I mean, Kevin is a proud parent, and he's playing college football, and he's going to graduate from the University of Virginia. And there's something that you can measure some things. Everybody talks about the height, the weight, but there's some things you can't measure. And what Kevin has in him is an inside desire to be the absolute best. He was voted one of our captains. As I said, he was over 1,000-yard rusher. He's one of our leaders on the team, and he's a passionate player. He wants to win. He wants his legacy as a Virginia football player to end up on a positive note. And with the leadership like that Kevin brings to the table, I have no doubt that we'll be successful.
Coach, we'll go all the way back to the camera.
Coach, Grayson Lambert, how good of a quarterback can he be? What's his ceiling?
Grayson's the type of young man that is always studying the game of football. He loves football. And matter of fact, you go in his room, he's got plays all on his wall and his ceiling. Now, may cause some of us just a little bit of concern about being overly in love with football, but the fact that he is a guy that wants the team to rally behind. He's a guy that wants to be out in front. He's a guy that wants to take the responsibility of leading this team. As I said, as far as an experience level, he's been in college games, and he has an opportunity. The first time in a while, we've had 2 quarterbacks that have played in college football games that have experience other than our rivals that are in the ACC. So, Grayson is a guy that the team will rally behind, and a guy that wants to lead this team to championships.
Teal shirt left side.
Coach Bob Holiday from Raleigh. Most schools, I think 10 out of 14, do have new quarterbacks this year. On the other hand, every school has returning offensive linemen. Every school has at least 3, some have 4, some even 5. Of the 70 tackle positions, I counted 48 guys who are returning starters. As a coach, what's the comfort level of having a veteran offensive line as you have in Virginia, as opposed to even if you have an inexperienced quarterback?
Sure, there's all parts of a team that you want to build, and obviously being my background being a line coach, it all starts up front with your guys, blocking for run holes and protecting the pass. The thing about us is that we have quarterbacks, or a quarterback that we know that can get the receiver the balls. We have receivers that are coming back that have extensive opportunities to stretch the field and make big catches for us. Our running back situation, as I said, with Kevin Parks and Taekwon Mizell and Khalid Shepard is in a great place. So you do have, not concerns, but that you may have 2 or 3, perhaps true sophomores that'll play for us this year. But that's part of the process that we have with guys that are in the program. And we'll find ways to help them, whether it's through the blocking or pass protections. The schemes will dictate how we can help them. And like I said, the surrounding cast is something that is as good as we've had in a long time.
Extreme left, first row.
Coach Don Munson with Clemson. Rare thing when you have a draft eligible first team All-American returning back. Clemson has that in Vic Beasley coming back. You talk about you being a background of a line coach. What is it like game planning for a guy like Vic Beasley? Could you see your comments on Vic Beasley, the player?
Well, first of all, he's a phenomenal player. And anytime that when you talk about pass defense, you have to always look at the guys that are rushing the quarterback, or guys that are affecting throwing lanes, giving time or the lack thereof for quarterbacks to be successful. He's the type of player that you have to know where he's at all times. And you may have to double team him. You may have to, do some things to try to tie him up. But he's an impact player, without a doubt. And the more impact players that you have, obviously the better your team is. And we know that Dabo's done a great job with this Clemson team. But again, when you're facing a guy that's truly gifted as he is, not only Virginia or wherever else he may play, they're going to have to know what Vic Beasley is.
Coach, your last question will come by the lights tower here.
Coach Dennis Carter in Lynchburg. College football enters a new era this year with the advent of the playoff system. Your thoughts on that new addition for college football?
Well, you're talking to a guy that had an opportunity to go through the FCS playoff system, and he won the championship with Richmond, and the field was representative of several teams. The system as it is now for FBS football is there are 4 teams. You're always going to have the argument of the 5th team not feeling like they got due justice. If you went to 8 teams, you're going to have the 9th team, not feeling like they got due justice. 16 teams and so on and so forth. So the system is the way it is. There's an attempt to keep that intact, but also the bowl game opportunities, which teams and universities play for and also experience. So I don't know the formula for that, but I know where we are right now. I wouldn't be surprised if later on down the road that it opens up to even more teams.
Mike London.